Last time we discussed about the steps. There are 5 steps for sudden plotting. First, we have to cut a desired DNA fragment with the help of the restriction enzyme. Basically, that will be the type 2nd restriction enzyme. With the type 2nd restriction enzyme, we can cut the foreign DNA or genome. So, why we use type 2nd restriction enzyme? Because type 2nd restriction enzyme have a small recognition site, only 6 to 8 base pair. So that will be more accurate or more precise cleaving or digestion. That's why we use type 2nd restriction endonuclease. So after cleaving DNA genome size, cleaving that with the help of the restriction enzyme, you can found the RFL3. Then after the formation of RFL3, we have to separate this restriction fragment on the electrophores of in case of DNA RNA, that will be aggregate electrophores. And after the separation, we need to transfer it on the blot on the nitrosulfurous membrane. Then it will hybridize with the help of the 32 phosphorus radioisotope, and we make the probe. And after probe, there is a process of visualization, that will be autolithography. So these are the 5-step process. Second is, now we discuss elaborately that step 2 is gel electrophores, in which we have to form a separate DNA fragment on the gel electrophores. So prior to electrophores, we make the RFLP fragments, and after separation, it will be also noted that what type of fragments we have obtained after restriction enzyme, because the percentage of agarose gel will be what will be the most convenient percentage for the agarose gel, in which you have to separate it out your DNA manner. Which one is the most common used percentage for the gel, agarose gel? For the, if your base pair is 5000 or 5 kb to 10 kb in between, or your DNA is 10 kb to 20 kb. So what will be the concentration of agarose, or what will be the percentage of agarose? Because if the percentage of agarose decide the pore size or cross-linking between the agarose molecule. Okay. So according to your percentage, you have to decide your percentage of the agarose. So the best for the commonly we used the percentage of gel, that will be 1 to 2%. Okay, that is much more efficient to separate the DNA fragment up to 5 kb to 10 kb. Okay, so first we find out the fragment, and according to this fragment, we choose the agarose gel, and that agarose gel have a certain percentage, and this certain percentage required to separate it out the DNA fragment. Okay, so we separate out the DNA fragment, and when we use to blot, so suppose this one is a electrophores, and you have to separate it out this DNA fragment. And in this case, the DNA fragment are double stranded or single stranded. They are in double stranded form. Okay. So before or prior to transfer on the nitrosulfurous membrane, it will be in a single stranded form. So second is thing is about the alkaline treatment, and that alkaline treatment will be of the 0.5 mole NaOH. Okay, which can convert this double stranded DNA molecule into single stranded DNA molecule. Okay, so after conversion of this double stranded DNA molecule, or after the treatment of the alkaline treatment, basically we use this gel, and in a buffer tank we kept out the 0.4 NaOH solution. Then we placed this agarose gel on this buffer tank and incubated for half an hour. Within half an hour, due to alkaline treatment, the double stranded DNA will be fragmented onto the single stranded DNA. So what will happen in alkaline treatment? क्या करता है, कैसे single stranded में convert कर देता है? Or how can you what will the basic mechanism behind that if we use alkaline treatment, and this alkaline treatment convert the double stranded DNA into single stranded DNA formation? Single stranded because if there is a AGTC base pair, so that means this one is a double stranded DNA. complementary. So these are the complementary. If you want to change this double stranded DNA into single stranded form, so you must break the hydrogen bond between them. Okay. So what will the purpose that, or what is the mechanism that hydrogen bond will be break with the alkyne treatment? So there is something now which is responsible to break down these hydrogen bond. Because only due to breaking of hydrogen bond, the double stranded DNA will convert into the single stranded form. There is a alkyne treatment now. So the basic mechanism behind the alkyne treatment that can convert this double stranded DNA to single stranded formation. Anybody any idea? Hydrogen bond can be break by the alkyne treatment. Salting in or salting out? Salting in or salting out, or any mechanism by which the hydrogen bond will be break. So these are the responsible things by which you, with the alkyne treatment, you have to break down the hydrogen bond and saying double stranded formation will be converted to the single stranded formation, because in the, if you have to transfer, once you have to transfer the single stranded DNA on the nitrocellulose membrane, so we already discussed that nitrocellulose membrane has a hydrophobic interaction. So due to its hydrophobic interaction, double stranded single stranded DNA molecule block on the nitrocellulose membrane. Okay, so the step third is cover the gel with a nitrocellulose paper. So there is a procedure by which first you have to place the agarose gel. After the agarose gel, you use some Whatman paper, which is used as a filter paper, or which can be used for the soaking of the extra buffer. Okay, so that after that there is a cover nitrocellulose paper with thick layer of paper towels for the soaking of extra buffer, and then compressed apparatus with a heavy weight due to create a pressure. That's why they can easily DNA band transfer onto the nitrocellulose membrane. Then single stranded DNA bind to nitrocellulose membrane at the same position it had on the gel. If there is a same, the band will be formed on the nitrocellulose membrane at the same position. Okay, the position of the band will be on the same. So after that blotting on the nitrocellulose membrane, you can actually recognize that this one is your desired gene of interest, or this one is a different gene. Okay, so you can observe that this one is in nitrocellulose membrane and the DNA will be transferred on that nitrocellulose membrane. So after that you have a buffer solution, that will be a transfer buffer. So in buffer solution used to transfer from DNA from agarose gel on the nitrocellulose membrane. After that, vacuum dry nitrocellulose at 80 degrees Celsius to permanently fix DNA in place or cross-link via the covalent bonds the DNA to the membrane. We already told that nitrocellulose membrane have a hydrophobic interaction, and if the single stranded DNA also have a remaining hydrogen bond, so but due to this the single stranded DNA will be bind on the nitrocellulose paper with that interaction. Okay, and after the vacuum dry and fixed at a temperature of 80 degrees Celsius, that DNA will be fixed on that paper. Okay, so after that you have to incubate with the DNA probe. So probe will bind at the same position which have a complementary to that double stranded DNA. Okay, next is hybridization with a probe. So probe hybridization is, there are two types of probe. First is a known probe and second is an unknown probe. If you want to isolate the gene of interest, that means you should know about the known probe. Your probe should be known, because if you know about the sequence of that particular gene, so you can use the known probe. And in condition of unknown probe, that means in the case of unknown probe, in the case of that, the satellite DNA sequence, because you choose to obtain some fragment which have an overlapping condition. In the structure mapping, you can choose overlapping fragment. So the overlapping fragment can find, and this overlapping fragment can bind on the probe, on the same probe. Okay. First thing is that first is the restriction mapping. If you want to isolate a particular gene, so there is a step. First you have to cut a DNA molecule or genome size with the restriction enzyme. Then you find out the RFLP. Then you arrange this RFLP according to their restriction mapping. Okay. After restriction mapping, you go through the. Suppose your task is that if you want to isolate a desired gene segment, and your desired gene segment is this. Why what will be the more abundant application for the northern plant? That means suppose your gene of interest is C. Okay. You want to isolate the C gene of interest. Okay. And you never know about the sequence of that C gene. Okay. So first you have to digest with this genome with the restriction enzyme. Then you find the RFLP. RFLP will be 2 or 3. Okay, they have a different in length in polymorphism. That's why they are length polymorphism. Okay, because each and every fragment have a different length. Okay, with cleaving with the restriction enzyme, so that will be the RFLP. So you never know that your desired gene sequence C will be present in this fragment, on this fragment. Okay, you have to run these fragments on the agro-geoelectric forces, and after agro-geoelectric forces, you find only 3 bands. Okay, so in this condition, you never know that your desired gene of interest in finding which fragment. Okay, so the process is that first you have to cut down or cleavage by the restriction enzyme. After cleaving, you go through a mapping formation by restriction mapping. You can also say that this one is a first fragment, this one is a second fragment, and last one is a third fragment. So you can arrange this restriction fragment according to your restriction mapping. Okay. And after that, when you arrange this restriction fragment, the problem is you have to sort it out the C gene sequence. So there is a process method by which you have to sort it out this C gene sequences, and that process is a technique which is used for the isolation of gene whose function is a technique which is used for the isolation of gene whose function is known but location is unknown. So in sequencing, you only sequence all the bases. You find out the bases. What is the constituent? What is the composition of that gene? Probe is used to hybridize your gene of interest. Either it is unknown or either it is known.
So knocking thing.
Sorry.
Knocking.
Okay. There is a step now, 5-step process. First, if you want to isolate a particular gene, then you make the restriction fragment or restriction digestion fragment. Then you go through the restriction mapping, and after restriction mapping, there is a technique which can involve to isolation of a particular gene. Suppose your location is known, that this one is the third gene, but function is unknown. In that case, you find out a technique before DNA sequencing. Before DNA sequencing, at least you know now. Suppose you never know about the sequence which is present in C. C is the sequence is AGTC or AGC, whatever. So first problem is that you have to find out the C fragment in all these 3 bands. This is the problem now. Suppose your gene fragment is this, and here is your C gene of interest. So how can you say that this C gene find in this segment, or in this segment? Okay, so there should be a technique which can identify that your gene of interest present in this fragment. So when you find out that this one is a fragment which having the C gene, so you isolate this C gene and then you go through the DNA sequencing. So you know about the sequence which is present in the C gene. It is the last step to identification of the gene. So how can you find out that the C gene present in this fragment? Sorry? You have to do the radio labeling or probing when you know the sequence now. In this case, still up till now you never know about the sequence. When you go through the DNA sequencing, only then you find out what type of sequence present in C fragment. So first problem is that you have to sorted out the C gene sequence from that fragment. DNA mapping only map the fragment. Suppose there is a DNA in circular form or whatever form, linear form. You go through the restriction enzyme, then there is a fragment. So you have to arrange this fragment. No? You have to arrange this fragment according to their in mapping. See, this one is the first fragment, or this one is the last fragment, this one is the middle fragment. So you can arrange in the structure mapping. You have to arrange only fragment. This one is the first part, this one is the second part, and this one is the third part. So restriction mapping only arrange the restriction RFLP in a manner they are actually present in or they are actually exist in a genome. So first you find out the restrictions RFLP, then go through the mapping, and third is most important technique by which you have to isolate that C fragment. Fingerprinting is last step. All of you know, and all of you heard about that. Yes, that is chromosomal walking. Chromosomal walking. Due to the chromosomal walking, you have to step along the chromosome, and this is the only technique by which you know about the gene sequence whose function is not known, because you never know the sequence of genes, so whose function is not known, but location is whose function is not known, but location is known. Okay, so you after the structure mapping, you perform the chromosomal walking. When you perform the chromosomal walking, so why we discuss chromosomal walking? Because in chromosomal walking we use a satellite DNA probe and randomly probe. We use a random probe 2.21. There are lots of satellite DNA probe available in market in these days. You can choose some 2 or 3 probe and we use some probe. So suppose you use a first probe and this probe. You use the probe and this probe have an overlapping sequence to in this. Suppose this probe, you use a probe, a satellite DNA probe that is named as 22.1. You use this probe in a mixture where you have your fragment. Okay. When you use this probe is bind and this probe is overlapping in both conditions. Okay. So this probe is bound. Suppose this one fragment is fragment number 1, 2, and then 3. So this fragment is bind on the third fragment. Okay, so first when you have to bind when this probe bind on the third fragment, you isolate that third fragment. Okay, after the isolation of the third fragment, you go through the sequencing, so you know about the B sequence. Again, this probe is also bind on the second probe, because the half part of the probe overlapping with the third segment and half part of the probe will be overlapping with the second fragment. So you can step by step you go through the structure mapping, or you go through the along with the chromosome. You use a probe and first fragment will be obtained. Again you use the same probe or another probe, and then again one fragment will be obtained. Okay, and you know every and each fragment, the position of every fragment you know by the restriction mapping. And after you have to obtain the fragment, then you go through the DNA sequencing. Okay, that's why there is a Human Genome Project have a 10 years and 10 countries and more countries to take. First we isolate first number of chromosome, then you isolate the second number of chromosome. So first you go through every chromosome form a restriction fragment length, then you digest with this fragment restriction, and then you find out, go through the restriction mapping. After the restriction mapping you find out the chromosomal walking, and after chromosomal walking you done the sequencing. So these are the steps you do with all these fragments or all these chromosomes. So that's why it takes too much long time. Okay. That's why it is completed in 10 years or 12 years. Because all these tasks you should perform in every step. When you have to find the isolation of a particular gene. That's why in this time we know the what type of gene is responsible for what purpose. Still we know about the gene which are responsible for speech. And someday we have to transfer this gene on any animal, so they can also speak just like us. And there is a mice, there is a organ cloning is also started due to this. The external ear form on the human mice. So a human external ear form on the mice. So this is the organ cloning method. So next is second is probe sequence is complementary to the DNA of interest. Third is incubate for several hours at suitable renaturation temperature that will permit probe to anneal to its target sequence. This is the same thing we already discussed, that your desired gene sequence and their sequence will be known. Fourth is wash and dry nitrocellulose sheet, because the extra interactions, these are the blocking sites. So these are the sites where the probe can also bind. So you have to block these remaining sites. Okay, so only single stranded site will be appear. So when you have to incubate this nitrocellulose membrane with the help of the probe, so probe will only bind on the single stranded DNA. It will not bind on the remaining site of the nitrocellulose membrane. So first you have to block this nitrocellulose membrane. You can use 10% weight by volume, any BSA solution or any type of protein solution that can block the remaining hydrophobic interactions. Step 5 is autoradiography. So last step is visualization of radioligand probe. Okay, so you use the radioligand probe, and that radioligand probe can be visualized by the autoradiography. So you can use a X-ray film also. You have to put this nitrocellulose sheet under the X-ray film, then you can find out where the radioisotope will be there. It is the general scheme for southern blot. First you have to separate it out the DNA and RNA. Then you go through the electrophorese. After electrophorese, you have to transfer this aerogel on the nitrocellulose membrane. In the nitrocellulose membrane, at the same site where the DNA band present on the gel, it will be on transfer on the nitrocellulose membrane. And after the transfer on the nitrocellulose membrane, they will hybridize with the radioligand probe, and after the hybridization with the radioligand probe, you have to incubate the remaining hydrophobic interactions which is present on the nitrocellulose membrane. Then it will be visualized by the X-ray film or autoradiography film, by which the radioisotope will be visible that this is your gene of interest. The most important thing for the any technique is that for its application or where you have to apply this. So the first application for is diagnosis and detection of genetic disease. Any disease which can be in spite of sickle cell anemia, and disease that can be recognized by the southern blotting. It is one of the example of southern blotting that it is used to diagnose the sickle cell anemia. In sickle cell anemia is a type of mutation. Which type of mutation? Oh, sorry, which type of mutation? Nonsense. One single base pair change. So this one is a which type of mutation? Point mutation. In point mutation are two types. Point mutation further divided into two parts. The characteristic feature of the point mutation is that point mutation always occur in the third base of the codon, because this third base of the codon is degenerate codon. Okay, there is a degeneracy will occur. So in this A will be changed to the T, and that will be occurred in the 6th position of the hemoglobin of the beta chain. Okay, so this one is the first base, this one is the second base, and this one is the third base. Now A will be changed to the T. This corresponding base pair will be C T, there after transcription, that will be after transcription. If you have to convert this DNA into mRNA, that will be GAA, and now this will be GA and U. Okay, GAA is code for the glutamine, and now GAU is code for the valine. Okay, so only one base pair will be changed. This one is a transcription and this one is a translation. So this one is double stranded DNA. This double stranded DNA converted into the mRNA for the transcription, and then this mRNA language decoded into the amino acid language, then you through the translation process. So a single base change in the third base of the codon, that will be A change into the T position. So their corresponding mRNA sequence also change. First mRNA sequence is GA, now this mRNA sequence after mutation, that will be GAU. Okay, GAA is code for the glutamine, now GAU is code for the valine. So this is happened, and then the sickle cell anemia will occur. Okay, so this one is a cause of the missense mutation. One is a silent mutation. Silent mutation is, again, if it is the mutation will occur. Point mutation has two parts. One is a silent mutation, other is a missense mutation. If mutation occur and the same, again the mutation occur, but the amino acid will be same. Again glutamine will form. So that means it is a missense mutation. Mutation occur but will not appear due to change, due to degeneracy of the codon. The same amino acid will form. Okay. That will be the silent mutation. And after that, in missense mutation, only single amino acid will be changed. But this single amino acid have a large impact on the hemoglobin. That will be the sickle cell anemia. Actually, A base change into T base, their corresponding base pair will be changed. Due to base pair change, their mRNA will be changed. And if the codon will change, that means the protein also change. Okay. So it is the best example to find out what will happen in the sickle cell anemia. That will be done in the southern application or southern blot. So how can you find out that this base pair is changing or this base pair having mutation? How can you find out that mutation is occur? Or how you in which case southern blot is applied here? How can you identify by the southern blot? You choose a normal hemoglobin gene. Okay, this normal hemoglobin gene, you go through all the analysis. You have to cut first genome or hemoglobin or chromosomal structure. Then you find out the particular fragment. Then you isolate it with the aggregate forces that transform the nitrocellulose membrane. Okay, then use a exact probe which is for recognized to normal sequence. Okay, again you use the same probe which is used for the normal sequence. In this case, suppose your probe is CTT. So this probe can recognize only this sequence, or this probe only it is used for the normal sequence. So this probe only recognize this sequence. This probe will not bind to this complementary sequence. Okay, so we can find out that this one is a mutated or this one is a non-mutated one. Okay. Another application is development of 19 residue oligonucleotide probe complementing to sickle cell genes mutated segment. So it is the part of to identify the southern application for the sickle cell anemia. Fourth is probe hybridized to DNA from homozygotes of sickle cell anemia but not from normal individuals. Okay, they can actually, if you develop a probe that is for the mutated, so it will not bind to the normal one. It will bind only on the mutated one. So you can find out this one is a normal homozygote or this one is a mutated homozygote. Any other application of southern blotting? You can give some example. Any example for the southern blotting? any disease, we can you can find out with the help of the Southern application or by the Southern blot. Sorry, fragile. Any other? Forensics. Now we are talking about disease. What type of? Huntington. Most common disease. First you go through the, suppose a patient have a developed AIDS infection. Okay, so their viral genome also integrated with the host genome. Okay, so the prior confirmation will be with the help of the first detection will be you have to done by with the help of the, suppose a AIDS patients are there. So how can you detect? The first detection will be done by the, how can you detect this one is a this will be the this patient or have a infection with the AIDS. First detection done by the which technique? First detection done by the ELISA. So ELISA can show that this patient have a antibody against the retrovirus. Okay, so how can you say that, or how can you go to the conclusion that this patient have a chronic retrovirus infection or it is converted into the AIDS? How many times or how much time it take to convert into AIDS? Suppose a patient have an infection with the retrovirus, and what will be the time for an incubation to convert this HIV infection into AIDS? What is the latent period of AIDS? Anyone know that? Good. It is 8 to 10 years. So a patient, this one is a basic problem. The patients have an infection, but the latent period for the conversion of this into 8 to 10 years. The disease develop from 8 to 10 years. So up to 10 years, the patients carry the retrovirus. Okay, is actually carrying the retrovirus. It didn't know because the side effects are not much or not much prone. That's why it can carry. So the latent period will be 10 years. The disease latent period is 10 years. Okay. So first antibody, you can form an antibody after when you have to perform the ELISA. Suppose if patients have a infection of retrovirus in first day, how many days after days you can detect with the ELISA? When the antibody will form now, then you have to detect after 72 hours. The basic thing is that after 72 hours you can find out that this patient have a certain type of infection, and because the antibody responsible for this virus is antibody is present. So you can perform only general ELISA and you can say that this patient have an infection with the retrovirus. Okay, but you have to confirm that now this patient have a particular infection. Antibody in primary case, antibody is also present. Antibody, if you have an infection with COVID, or if you have an infection with any type of influenza virus, or if you have an infection with any type of bacteria, the antibody is always present. Okay, it is not necessary that you carrying disease, but antibody is also present. So ELISA is only to confirm that infection was occurred. Okay, but how can you say that now the infection is present, or how can you say that this is the confirmation test that this patient have an infection? So this will be done by the in HIV case, that will be done by the blotting. That will be done by the Western blot or Southern blot, because if there is a gene, the cycle of the HIV virus is that first virus bind on the surface of the membrane, then first this is the virus which is containing the RNA, then this RNA uncoated in the cytoplasm. After uncoating with the help of the destruction enzyme that is carried by itself. This reverse transcriptase enzyme that which is carried by itself virus. This reverse transcriptase enzyme convert this RNA molecule into DNA molecule, and this DNA molecule go through the nucleus and find out the DNA replicative accessory protein, and after this single stranded DNA converted to the double stranded DNA, and then this double stranded DNA integrated to the host DNA, and then gene will express. Okay, transcription occur, translation occur, and all these genes occur. If their retrovirus genome is present on the host genome, so that can be identified on any type of DNA sequencing method or any type of DNA plotting method. So Southern blot is the best example for the confirmation that this person now have an infection of retrovirus in very advanced stage, or if not have an infection of it have a primary infection. Okay? That will be confirmed by the blotting techniques. This one is another example of Southern blot. It is the best example for the confirmation of any disease which is a genetically or you can say congenital disease. Any more example which is used in which the Southern blot will be used? Alzheimer. What happened in Alzheimer? In last unit, this was question we discussed. Okay, let's start the Northern blot. In Northern blot, that will be the RNA to DNA hybridization. In Southern blot, that will be the DNA to DNA hybridization. Okay, Northern blot is RNA to DNA. That means your sequence will be RNA and your probe will be DNA. So that will be the DNA to RNA to DNA hybridization. And RNA to RNA also hybridized in the case of Northern blot. If you don't want to go through the cDNA radioactive probe, you also use a RNA probe. Okay, in this case. First, this one is a safe developer, Southern, which detect, then no needs to digestion with RNA with the restriction enzyme because if you kept RNA in a native state, in a compressed state, RNA have a tendency to make their secondary structure. Suppose this one is a RNA fragment, so this RNA fragment have a tendency, it make itself a secondary structure, and once RNA bind to itself, it's make a complementary or form a secondary structure. You cannot perform the Northern blot. That's why the third most important thing for the Northern blot is the breakdown of the double-stranded RNA. Okay, because RNA have a tendency to make the secondary structure. Here it is known as a folded on itself. Okay, so due to prevent to making the secondary structure, RNA must be kept in denatured form, and that will be done in the RNA case. That will be used by the formaldehyde. Okay, formaldehyde kept the DNA in the kept the RNA in the single stranded form. Okay, so in Southern blot, the main difference between the Southern blot and Northern blot hybridization, when you have to perform the Southern blot, you have to go through the electrophores on the as it is double stranded DNA. Okay, and before prior to transfer on the nitrocellulose membrane, it must be on the single stranded form. But in the case of Northern blot, first we have to take RNA into single stranded form, then you perform the approach electrophoresis. Okay. So why we don't need to digest a RNA fragment with the restriction enzyme? We choose only a single strand. Suppose one RNA, this one is a 4 RNA. So we can use this RNA as a Northern blot, or there is a need to digest this RNA. there is need to fragmented RNA to perform the electroforces, or RNA can be used as such in intact form. A whole RNA can be used in Northern blot. If you want to cut down the RNA, there is any enzyme which can cleave the RNA fragment. Dipti? RNase is the only thing which can denature the RNA fragment. Okay, so with the help of the RNA fragment, you can cut down the RNA. So there is no need to digest with the restriction enzyme. Next is use formaldehyde to break down the hydrogen bonds and denature RNA, because RNA have their secondary structure, or RNA have to tendency to make their secondary structure. So before electrolysis, it is must to cap that RNA in single stranded form, and that will be done by the formaldehyde SCH2. Then the steps of Northern blot: isolate RNA and treat with formaldehyde. So how can you identify this one is a mRNA or this one is a any type of rRNA or tRNA or whatever? How can you isolate? How can you differentiate? This one is a, suppose you want to analyze the gene expression. So if you want to analyze the gene expression, that means you know about the, or you should isolate the mRNA. Okay, instead of the rRNA or tRNA or any organelle or RNA. So, so first problem is that you have to isolate the exact mRNA. If it is eukaryote, so how can you isolate the eukaryotic mRNA? Suppose the problem is that they give you a different types of RNA. There is a mixture of RNA, viral RNA, bacterial RNA, and eukaryotic mRNA. Okay, so and the problem is that you want to find out the eukaryotic mRNA, only mRNA which is expressed by the eukaryotic gene. So the first problem is that how would you isolate that eukaryotic mRNA from the mixture of that RNA? Centrifugation not recognized that is a eukaryotic or prokaryotic, or all the RNA language will be same, 4 base pair A, U, G, C. How can you say that this one is a eukaryotic mRNA? Five prime have a cap formation, 7-methyl guanosine, and 3 prime have a polyadenylate tail. So it is fact that eukaryotic have a 5 prime cap formation and 3 prime have a polyadenylate tail. So how can you isolate this mRNA? In affinity chromatography you use a polysaccharin gel or whatever gel, and you use this, prepare a matrix. In this matrix you use a complementary sequences for the polyadenylate tail. Okay, if there is a polyadenylate tail complementary sequences, then you have to figure out this RNA and then some RNA will be bound here. Okay, but it can be happen or it can be used, but the best thing for the isolation of exact eukaryotic mRNA, chromatography you can use. If you're not having some other thing, there is another process by which you have to exactly find out your eukaryotic mRNA.
Transcription.
After transcription, the mRNA will be. Transcription is the only mechanism by which the DNA converts into the mRNA. So transcription is also present in the prokaryote and all this sequence. So how can you find out this one is a prokaryotic mRNA or this one is a eukaryotic mRNA? In this mixture, there are lots of RNA, and the problem is that you have to only count the eukaryotic mRNA. All of you know that this one eukaryotic mRNA have a 5 prime cap and 3 prime polyadenylate tail. So The best thing is that you have to utilize a radio-labeled probe that have a 5' radio-labeled and have a complementary sequence with its polyannihilate tail. Okay, you use this probe into this mixture, so it will bind only on the eukaryotic mRNA. It will not bind on any other sequence. So you find out that this one is a eukaryotic gene expression, or it is a product of eukaryotic gene. Okay, after finding that, you can isolate that RNA. Okay, how can you isolate this RNA? In the mixture, suppose you use a radio-labeled probe. This radio-labeled probe bind on the target sequence. Okay, you know these are the eukaryotic mRNA, but how can you isolate these fragments from the test tube or from the mixture? Then you perform. Next step is arteriography. Only visualize that these are the sequence. First you have to go through the. First you have to transfer this sequence on the. Nitrosoureous story. Nitrosoureous is the last step. First you have to isolate. You perform the agrogel electrophoresis. In agrogel electrophoresis, all the RNA will be fragmented out. Okay. After the fragmented out RNA, then you go through the blotting technique. So you can perform that. This is the desired RNA sequence, or this one is a gene expression. The interest of a gene is the prokaryotic genome or the eukaryotic genome. Next is electrophoresis RNA in denaturation agrogel. Okay, one more basic question is that RNA have a agrogel. RNA and DNA both have a agrogel electrophoresis. DNA fragment also separated by the agrogel electrophoresis. RNA fragment also separated by the agrogel electrophoresis. There is any difference between size? If there is a RNA, 10 kilobase RNA. In a test tube, there is a mixture of 10 kilobase pair double stranded DNA and 10 kilobase RNA molecule, and there is a 10 kilobase prokaryotic genome. So you run out a agrogel electrophoresis in that condition. So one band will be formed, or 2 or 3 bands will be formed. How many bands will appear in 3 samples? You know that one is a 10 kilobase pair double stranded DNA, one is a 10 kilobase RNA, and third is a 10 kb prokaryotic genome. All have a same molecular weight. Okay, so there is only one band will appear, or there is when you perform the agrogel electrophoresis. In that condition, only one band will appear, or there are more than one band will appear. Think about it. Give some time, huh?
Size और shape के हिसाब से भी वो move करेगा.
हाँ. So justify by your answer. You know, all of you know about all the techniques, all the things. Take some time and think about that. How many bands will appear? Only one band, or 2 band, or 3 band? One band is all the sequence overlap. All the band will be overlap. One above one, and appear as a single band. Why one band? Because all they having the same molecular weight. Size doesn't matter. Let's make it more easy. Suppose we take 5 kilobase pair. Here we choose 5 kilobase pair linear genome or linear double stranded DNA. Okay, you have 5 kilobase. Now you use 5 kilobase circular double stranded DNA, and then you perform the agrogel electrophoresis. So a single band appear or 2 band appear?
Sir, 2 band.
is a 5 kilo base pair double stranded molecule which is a linear genome or linear double stranded DNA. 5 kilo base linear double stranded DNA. Other is a 5 kilo base circular double stranded DNA. So single band appear will be or double band will appear.
Single.
बताएं how many bands will definitely 2 bands will appear. अब आप बताएं why 2 bands will appear. The principle is that according to the charge and under influence the electric field the particle will migrate, but the third factor is size and shape. Okay, so which will move faster? Agar suppose there is a 2 band, so this one is a linear or this one is a circular or this is a circular or this one is a linear. Then this one is a linear. Linear fast move करेगा. Think about that. We think which one will move faster? A circular will move faster or linear will move faster? Which will move faster? Linear or circular? You rolled out one linear stick and then you roll out a ball which will travel long distance. Circular, no? So that means which band will be circular? Upper or lower? If the band is circular, that means it can travel too much. So slightly, if there is a linear 2 bands, so one band, here is a 1 band and slightly there is a 1 more band that will be for the circular DNA. Because in that case only 2 bands will appear. First band will be for the linear DNA and second band will be for the circular DNA. Because circular DNA of the same size, due to its shape, it can move forward. Okay, so there is a 2 band will appear. Okay, again we stick to our question. There is a 10 kilo base double stranded DNA, 10 kilo base RNA, and 10 kb RNA. And then 10 kilo prokaryotic genome. So we find out 2 band or 3 band.
3 band.
So RNA takes some. There is a difference by the 10 kb of RNA. The first 100% 10 kb of DNA. 1 band will appear, that will be 10 kb of DNA. Our theory says that the circular DNA moves some, so there is another band for the prokaryotic genome of 10 kb. So the thing is for the RNA, 10 kb RNA on the overlapping with the DNA, or it will be goes somewhere else. RNA and DNA, the base pair, the base sequence or base composition does make any difference in size, in respect to size, in respect to any other nature, in respect to their charge?
The charge.
If there is a DNA and if there is a RNA, so there is something difference between, make some difference. The entire charge will be or size will be different. Charge will be different or size will be different?
Both are both are
both will be factor. So RNA band will be on upper side or lower side?
Lower side.
And the percentage and the pore of the gel will be a factor or not? Suppose you have to choose 2% gel, 2% aqueous gel. Okay, so the percentage of the gel is a factor for the differentiation of these bands. Gel is well much efficient to separate it out 10 kilo base pair genome. Okay, it doesn't matter. One is you have a sieve for the wheat grain and you have a sieve for the maize grain. Okay, so if you have a sieve, you are having a sieve for the maize grain. So basically, wheat grain also pass through this very easily. So that it doesn't matter. So suppose your gel percentage is 2%. It is much more efficient to pass through the 10 kb size of the nucleic acid or biomolecule. Now it will be a factor that 10 kilo base pair DNA and 10 kilo base RNA. How much charge will be deviate from 10 kilo base to 10 kilo base RNA, from DNA to RNA? Suppose a 4 base pair of DNA, A, G, T, C, and there is a A, G, and U and C. There is only one difference. Here is a T and here is a U. Okay, 4 base pair. This one is the RNA, this one is the DNA. So here is a how much difference between charges? In that condition, charge is the matter or no? Charge will be matter in that condition. Only for single base pair change. Or if the charge is matter, so how much difference? It is a very major difference or minor difference between two. Charge will doesn't matter in that condition. Okay? Or either says will doesn't matter. If RNA don't cap their secondary structure, so it will doesn't matter. It will be DNA or RNA. So only two bands will be appear. First is overlapping band for the 10 kb of DNA and 10 kb of RNA. Other is slightly lower side on the first band, that will be the circular. Due to its shape, it move little more. Okay, so the second will appear, that will be the prokaryotic gene. So this one is electrophorese RNA in denaturing aqueous gel, which have a formaldehyde, because RNA has the tendency to maintain its secondary structure, so it must be ensured to keep RNA in the single stranded form. So you have to put this aqueous gel in the formaldehyde, or you have to merge this gel on the formaldehyde solution, and then it is visualized by the ethidium bromide stain. Then transfer of this single stranded RNA to nitrocellulose membrane or nylon membrane. And one more paper, DMB paper, dimethyl benzene, or DBM paper, that is used for the neurotic. Transfer of single stranded RNA to nitrocellulose membrane and nylon membrane. Then it is stick on the RNA strand will be stick on same side which is present on the hydrogel electrophorese. That will be bind on the same side on the nitrocellulose membrane. So it is a third step, that transfer of single stranded RNA to the nitrocellulose membrane, that will be covalently linked to RNA to nitrocellulose membrane. And the fourth thing is about then it is used to probe with the help of the RNA probe, or either it will be a DNA probe, cDNA probe. Okay. So if it is an RNA probe, then you go through a radio label with the, if you want to prepare an RNA probe, so you radio label with this probe with the help of the same 32 phosphorus radioisotope, or there is something else. RNA probe will be radio labeled with you should know about the nucleic acid probe formation preparation. It is most important. So how we find out the same 32 for phosphorus radioisotope, can the radiolabeled RNA, for the radiolabeling of RNA, which isotope will be used? The structure of RNA is given up 5 prime, A, U, G, U, C, U, and 3 prime. So you have a 3 prime hydroxyl group, and here is the 5 prime phosphate. Okay, if you don't want to radiolabel to the phosphate group, you go through the tritium or deuterium. Okay, you use the radioisotope of the hydrogen and can you radiolabel the mRNA, or you can radiolabel your RNA probe. If you are using the cDNA probe, you have to well go with the 32 phosphorus radioisotope, which is utilized for the DNA probe formation. So you can visualize or incubate this membrane with the help of the RNA probe or the cDNA probe with the target sequence. And then fifth step is the development. With the help of the development, you can visualize the color or sequence. Okay, so these are the steps which involve for the Nathan rod. So first thing is that, first step is that isolate RNA, which detect mRNA, isolate the polyannulate tail mRNA, because this one is an important thing. We already discussed that if it is a eukaryotic mRNA, so most important thing for the eukaryotic mRNA that there is polyannulate tail. If the polyannulate tail, so you can distinguish your eukaryotic mRNA with the rest of the mRNA. Okay, so you use a probe or polyannulate tail, complementary sequence, so you can isolate the polyannulate tail mRNA. That's why here you have to note on that isolate the polyannulate mRNA, because our mRNA isolation is a specific. We only use to isolate the eukaryotic mRNA. Okay, that's why here is the isolate the polyannulate tail mRNA. Okay, so you can find out your desired mRNA sequence, mRNA expression. Then second thing is the RNA is both biologically and chemically more labile than DNA. Okay, then thus eliminate RNAs. Okay, RNA have a very fragile or very susceptible. That's why you have to eliminate the RNase enzyme, because any suppose your saliva or any spitting or any type of finger toxic or anything, they can damage your RNA. A slightly difference in the temperature or slightly difference in the absorbing of pressure, the RNA will be denatured. Okay, so that's why you have to take precautions to isolate this mRNA sequence. In step 2, after the isolation of the mRNA, step 2 is the electrophoresis, and this is the normal electrophoresis done with the agrogel electrophoresis. And the important thing is that in electrophoresis you have to keep this electrophoresis submerged in the formaldehyde solution, because formaldehyde kept this RNA into the single stranded form, or prevent that RNA doesn't make to that double stranded formation. So perform this electrophoresis in formaldehyde agrogel to prevent RNA from folding on itself or to make the secondary structure. Second part of the step 2 is stain with ETBR to visualize the RNA band. Ethidium bromide bind on the RNA bands to and then you have to visualize this. This is your desired gene expression. Now step 3, the transfer of single stranded RNA to nitrocellulose or nylon membrane. Nitrocellulose or nylon membrane is just like a butter paper. All of you know about the butter paper, so nitrocellulose and nylon membrane are same. Then traditionally a nitrocellulose membrane is used, although a nylon or a positively charged nylon membrane may be used. Why the positively charged? Because why we have to mention that it should be a positively charged nylon membrane? Because because we already discussed that nitrocellulose hydrophobic interactions. So for the hydrophobic interaction, positively charged ion means they make a bond. Actually, when you have to transfer this RNA on the nitrocellulose membrane, they bind with the hydrophobic interactions with the membrane. Okay, so the positively charged nylon membrane may be used. Third is nitrocellulose typically has a binding capacity of about 100 μg per centimeter, while nylon has a binding capacity of about 500 microgram per centimeter. Okay, so which one you have to prefer? In the case of RNA, that will be the nylon membrane. Next is, many investigators feel that nylon is a better since it binds more and it is a less fragile. Okay. So because RNA itself, it is a very fragile in nature, so that's why the nylon membrane can protect RNA to make it fragile. Next is covalently linked RNA to membrane. Why covalently linked RNA to membrane? Because RNA in its secondary structure or RNA in single stranded form, so it will bind on the membrane, then it will form a covalent bond. So due to its covalent bond, actually RNA bind on the membrane, on the nylon membrane or nitrocellulose membrane, whatever you want to use. And next is the UV cross linking is more effective in binding RNA to the membrane than baking at 80 degrees Celsius. So you can perform the general UV cross linking in spite of sudden blot where you use the 80% for fix the DNA strand on the nitrocellulose membrane. Here you can use the UV rays to cross linking. Okay, you put this buffer tank or nylon membrane under the UV lamp or under the UV translator. In UV translator, it will be fixed your RNA band on the nitrocellulose membrane or nylon membrane. So you didn't need to bake the nylon membrane at 80 degrees Celsius. Fourth and final step is polyhybridized, pre-hybridized before hybridization, block non-state. This one is important. We already discussed that. If nitrocellulose membrane have a remaining hydrophobic interactions, so when you use the probe, so probe will bind on the remaining. These are the remaining. Suppose your band will be transferred on this place, so these are the remaining hydrophobic interactions all over in the membrane. Okay, so it is a possibility that your membrane or your probe will bind on that part of the membrane. Okay, if there is a probe will bind here, or you have to when you used to go through the visualization autorotography, so probe will appear here. Okay, so better you block all the remaining sites of block all the remaining hydrophobic interactions with the help of the any protein that might get BSS solution or whatever. Okay, so only the band will appear. Okay, so you can find out that your desired center. So incubate the membrane, blocks non-specific site to prevent the single stranded probe from binding just anywhere on the membrane. Okay. Next is incubate membrane with the labeled DNA or RNA probe with the target sequence, and the probe should be 32 phosphorus, biotin, streptonin or bioluminescent probe, whatever you want to use. In some lab, streptonin or bioluminescent purpose, somewhere beta galactosidase for the color formation or gel dye, the galax that will be used for the plasmid appearance, Kalmi dye, so you can use that. So these are the probe that will be used for the membrane patient. Then finally you go through the autorotography. Place membrane over X-ray film where the visualization will occur for the probe. X-ray film darkness where the fragments are complementary to the radioactive probe. Okay. This one is a general autographic method by which you actually visualize your probe which is hybridized on that side. This is a real pig where the luminescent or where the due to the actinium bromide stain RNA after alkaline treatment and this one is the acronym of bromide stain RNA after electrophoresis. So that will be the difference. Okay, the much more band. This one is a double stranded form, then you have to soak in a single stranded form. Okay, then a phosphodynamic scan. This is a real pig in which the 3R scan exposure after hybridization with the 32 labeled probe. This one is an important part of application of the Nathan block. So the most important thing for the Nathan application is for the gene, to find out the gene expression. How many genes are expressing, or what will be the intervening sequences, or what are the non-coding sequences, or what are the exon. So the real gene expression you can find out here. Suppose you have a total genome and this whole genome will be transcribed in the transcription process. So you have an intervening sequence. If you find out, if you construct a gene library, so gene library have an intervening sequence or non-coding sequence or these sequence. When it is a pre-mRNA, that means it contains the intron as well as exon. Okay, but if you go through the cDNA library, your purpose is that you want to produce a gene. This is a main gene and you want to form a product of that gene. So you choose a gene, you have to isolate this gene and you put this gene into a cloning or vehicle, then you have to clone and then you insert this desired gene into the expression vector, then the product will appear. Okay, so in that condition, your segment, your gene of interest, that will be in the stage where you find out this one is a mature mRNA where the splicing and processing occur. So after mature mRNA, splicing will remove the intron sequence, only exons will appear. Okay, so after exon function or after mature mRNA, you can direct form the cDNA library. And when you have to insert this cDNA into any type of genetic vehicle or cloning vehicle, you can directly, if it is an expression vector, so the important significance of the expression vector is that your desired gene segment will be cloned as well as it form this product. As like in formation of recombinant insulin, you take insulin, for the formation of recombinant insulin, you take a gene which is responsible for the insulin production, or you choose a mRNA. Which one is the best suited for it? If you want to prepare a recombinant insulin, so you choose a DNA or gene sequence for the insulin, or you choose a mRNA. Because after you didn't perform the splicing technique. Okay, in mRNA, in mature mRNA, all the exons are present. So basically, you convert this mRNA into the cDNA. Then this cDNA you have to convert in the double-stranded fragment, and this double-stranded DNA will transcribe this double-stranded DNA, they make the RNA, and this RNA convert into the protein. But it should be in the expression vector. So you have this one is your desired gene or desired mRNA which is converted by the reverse transcriptase enzyme in the cDNA formation. Then this cDNA will insert into the plasmid vector, and if it is an expression vector, so better you have to take one promoter sequence here, some multiple LCS sites and some eukaryotic cori, or there is one autonomous replication system and all these things. So you make a expression vector. With the help of this expression vector, your gene can be transcribed or your gene can be converted to a product, a protein product. Next, so including which tissue in a complex organism express which of genes that the mRNA linked. Next is it. For instance, any type of expression that can be done by your mother, or to identify any type of gene expression, if it is a normal gene expression or if it is a mutated gene expression, both can be clearly distinguished by the another application. Okay. In the case of COVID, there is you perform the RT-PCR. So for COVID have a RNA or DNA? COVID have a RNA. So why you must perform the RT-PCR? RT-PCR is a real-time PCR or is a reverse transcriptase PCR? So when you perform RT-PCR in case of COVID, so that means viral have a RNA, but first you have to convert this RNA into DNA and then you perform the PCR. Okay, so you can find out any type of expression. You take a blood cell or you take a blood sample or staging of virus sample, then you convert, break down you go through the lysis, in buffer lysis, you break down the virus whole, then you find out the genome of that virus, then you have to convert this virus with the reverse transcriptase tank into the DNA language. Okay. So some people have a COVID positive, but RT-PCR showing that this one is a negative. In primary case, in March, in April, some are positive, but RT-PCR shows that they are the negative. Why? Because they are using those primers. The virus changed their strain. Alpha, beta and all those viruses are changing their strain, but we are using same primer for the alpha strain. So primer will not amplify the whole genome sequence. If the primer will not amplify, that means your report will be negative. Okay, so you have to change your primer. If the strain of the RNA will be changed, then primer will also change. Okay. So when trying to learn about the function of a certain protein, it is sometimes useful to purify the RNA from many different tissues or cell types, then prepare a northern blot of those mRNA using a cDNA clone of the protein of interest as the probe. Okay. Then only mRNA of cell type that are synthesized the protein will hybridize the probe. So you go through one comparison between southern DNA to membrane, digest by the DNA, convert double stranded to DNA, then probe with the DNA to RNA. Another RNA on membrane, no need to digest, denatured. This one is important, denatured before prior to electrophoresis and probe with DNA or RNA, whatever you want to use. Okay, so now this topic is finished, and if you have any questions or any doubt, you can ask. If there is any questions, if you have any questions or any doubt, you can ask. No questions.